So what we're going to be talking a little bit to you today about is about the court case, of course, and just to reassure you that there are a lot of people on your side. They want you to have full restitution. I certainly do. Hannah certainly does. All of us do. And also we want to talk to you a little bit more about the People's Tribunal on CEDAW. And that's a really important initiative. I feel that maybe we can actually move forward on something that we've been missing for 40 years now, and that is true substantive transformative equality. So one of the things that Yvette said earlier is about on all grounds the appeal was allowed, and I want to just make that very, very clear. On all grounds the appeal was permitted. That's absolutely fantastic, and it doesn't happen in all court cases at all. It's an unusual occurrence. And why that's important is because we mentioned, for my part, I'm just speaking about CEDAW today, but for the part that I gave a legal brief to was on CEDAW. And the judge said very, very little about CEDAW, which gives us the opportunity to say that he didn't address it at all. So if a judge doesn't understand CEDAW, and I think it's pretty clear either he didn't understand it or two, he didn't want to address it, which is a possibility, of course, then then it might be that he needs a little bit of training, let's put it mildly. But it gives the legal team the opportunity to say, "Hoi, look at this legal brief and look at these legal arguments based on CEDAW." And why that's important is because, in my mind, and obviously the legal team's mind, I would imagine, although I haven't spoken to them about it, but it seems obvious, there was definitely discrimination here. And the stuff that David Henke got hold of about how men were treated, and they got an extra pivot, extra money put into their accounts, would absolutely support the fact that this group of women were discriminated against on so many different levels. And CEDAW totally supports that in law, and it says, you've passed this law, you've ratified it, you should be following it. And you've got to advance women in society. You can't just give older women not enough time to plan for their retirement. That's not lawful. You should not be doing that. And trying to hold this, whatever government, to account is really, really important. The second thing that I think is I mean, there are many reasons why this court case is extremely important. But the other reason that I want to mention is that it's about the functions and the duties of a government towards its citizens, those people who live within its jurisdiction, within its physical boundaries. And one of the things that this court case is deciding is what are the remit, what are the boundaries of that duty. So, do they have a duty to tell you that they're changing the law? Big question. It would seem obvious to me, probably to everyone on this call, on this Facebook Live, that yes, they have a duty. So therefore, they should tell you. But what the government argued in the case in the High Court said, no, the government does not have a duty to tell you. And that can't be right. That can't stand. So one of the things that I would imagine is going to happen in this court case is also the justices deciding on what are the parameters of a government and what they have to do. So I think that's really important to outline, especially in times of that we're living in, unprecedented times we're living through right now. The functions of a government are really, really important. I think we found that out through COVID in particular, and all the things there that a government can do and should be doing. So let's watch this space. And I think the court case is Tuesday and Wednesdays, if I remember right, the 21st and 22nd. Right, so let's see if I can add, how do I do this? see, I click on you. I'm just talking to Hannah to try and get her added, and I just don't know how to do it. I really cannot figure it out. I'm clicking on you, Hannah, but I can't see anything, how I can add you into, oh God, now it's gone to something completely different. So the CEDAW add, crikey, sorry, really challenged today. Does CEDAW add risk to us women being of equal pension age to men, though, which would go against our 1950s women fight wanting our pension back dated to age 60? It isn't about that. It's about CEDAW is about writing the disadvantages of on the right. Oh, I don't know how to. Maybe that's it. I'm trying to add her in, and it won't let me. Nope. I can't do it, Hannah. I'm sorry. So maybe I can get off in like a couple of minutes, and then you can do a Facebook Live. That might be able to go. I hope it's still working. Can you guys still hear me and see me? Is it still working? Sorry, this is really okay. Great, thanks, Anne. So what CEDAW is it's not. That's the beauty of using the Equality Act and CEDAW parallel to each other. The Equality Act 2010 is about equal opportunities, but CEDAW is much more than that. It's about what we call substantive equality, and that is making sure the historical disadvantages are taken into account when you remedy the situation. And that's what is the added value for CEDAW, and that's what I think is the is what helps the case. So I just want to talk a little bit about the People's Tribunal, because then I'll switch over and I'll get off, and I'll let Hannah do her bit, because we couldn't work out how to get it done, I'm afraid. So the People's Tribunal is about exactly this, changing the way we look at equality. It's not just about equal opportunities. You can't just equalize pension age and don't think about the economic consequences when you do that for people and you don't give them any notice. What CEDAW tries to do is put those principles into domestic law. That's what we want to achieve, and say, no, you can't just look at policy or legislation in isolation. You've got to look at the broader picture. So you're looking at socioeconomic circumstances of people as well. You're looking at the historical disadvantages and all sorts of different levels. Then you move towards advancing women and girls in society. Yeah. So the People's Tribunal will examine that evidence to see how we can get to substantive, transformative equality and move it forward. So we all would really love your support in that campaign, because it's a really important one. And it's been 40 years since we ratified it, and 40 years that we've been waiting, much, much longer, of course, but 40 years since we've had this type of equality that exists, a theory that exists out there and is used in practice in many different countries, that we should have had it in law 40 years ago. I think it's time we stop waiting and we action this. The People's Tribunal will put together a bunch of evidence. A group of judges will decide on that evidence. They will write a report, and hopefully they will come out in favor of saying, yes, this is what we need. This is particularly important in time of COVID, because we know women were working on the front lines and still are working on the front lines, and they've always affected much more when it comes to health, economics, discrimination, all sorts of things, for much longer in a much more systemic way than males. And I accept 100% that males are targeted by COVID more, and have more men have died than women. But there's other things going on as well. Women are on the front line and they're working their socks off trying to help with that. Oh, I'm really sorry about your husband dying last week. It's really awful. There's an awful lot of stuff out there that is not very helpful. But we know that we're focused on this court case on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm pretty confident about the legal arguments that are going to be put forward. I'm pretty confident about the Court of Appeal being able to see that you've been hard done by 100% and that you'll have a positive outcome. The legal team couldn't be better. You know, they're just fantastic bunch of people who have argued these different legal points many times in different places. So that will, I think there'll be a really positive vibe from Wednesday onwards. It might take a little while to have a result, may not be on the day, you never know, but I think there'll be a lot of people who will be looking at it. I'm going to turn off now, but please sign up to the People's Tribunal campaign. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties, but I'll switch over to Hannah now. Okay? All right, great. Bye.